So welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us here on this late hour already. It's the fourth panel session here, but let's make this this promise to each other. Let's make this the best panel session of the whole day, which is impossible because the previous moderator just bumped in, so I had to change my words. But anyway, thank you, Fabrizio. Okay, guys, we talk about the RCS messaging. What the hell is RCS? The latest developments and new opportunities for the messaging operators. So a mouthful. But before we go into discussion, I would like to thank iBasis for sponsoring this session. So thank you for this one. And I'll give quickly my panelists a quick minute to introduce themselves. Then we're going to listen to Guillaume from iBasis with his view and iBasis' view on what's going on, what's happening. And then we'll have a moment for a quick Q&A for Guillaume if needed. And then we'll jump right into the discussion with the senior people here next to me who know everything about this market. So I'll give them a quick minute. So Guillaume, for you first maybe.
Hi Eric, thank you for inviting me here today. So my name is Guillaume. I run product management at iBasis. My responsibility are around mobile and messaging. We recently launched RCS. I'm going to share a little bit of context, feedback, and experience that we have following that launch.
Okay, perfect. Welcome. Oui, Pascal?
Yes, thank you, Eric, for introducing me. Hi, so I'm Pascal Prum, the founder and the CEO of Legos. Lego stands for Local Exchange Global Operation Services. So that means that we're a local operator with a global vision on the telecom market with voice and SMS, and we are deployed and we are operating services in France, Germany, UK, Spain, and soon the Netherlands.
Okay, thank you, and great being with us here. Andreas.
Hi, I have a half-worker micro. Okay, my name is Andreas Felke. I'm the former founder and CEO of Interactive Digital Media. We're A2P messaging provider, having local MVNO licenses in a couple of countries and a larger wholesale and a smaller enterprise segment on the customer side.
Thank you and welcome. And now, last but not least, the guru of the messaging industry, Mr. Nick.
Thanks, Eric. So I'm Nick Lane, Chief Messaging Officer and founder at Mobile Squared, with a leading business messaging intelligence provider in the world. And we've been tracking RCS since about 2012 when it used to be called Join. So we've been watching it for quite a while.
Yeah, thank you, and fantastic that you wanted to join this session as well. So yes, I think it's now to make sure that we keep our ears open and listen to Guillaume from iBasis for his presentation. Thank you, Guillaume.
Thank you. All right. Okay, so let's get into it. If the clicker works. All right. So I just wanted to start by saying a few words about iBasis, so you understand a little bit the context. iBasis is a global international carrier. The brand has been around for 25 years. I believe everyone knows about it. So we've been known in the market recently for the number of acquisitions that we've done. We've made 7 acquisitions in 7 years. Which has been those following the consolidation of our activity, and also like the expansion of our activity across various products. It all started with voice, then we jumped into mobile, and more recently we've added IoT and messaging with the acquisition of Dimoco last year, in 23. Last year actually, which expanded significantly our activity around SMS. So let's move to the next one. I just want to put a little bit of context and look at what is happening right now on the market. The SMS market has been going through several turbulence. I think this is still a very hot topic in the industry. We've been witnessing the price increase in several markets, and it all started like in 2021, and it's keep continuing. The trend of seeing the price increasing is there, which definitively affects the volume. We, as an industry, we are all concerned about fraud, like the AIT. We have like numbers on that, like we are saying up to 5% of the international A2P traffic is made out of the AIT, which is really a concern for our customers. And obviously, as an actor, we wanna fight against it, and we wanna find solution for that. So there are different problems, right? The gray routes has been around. So the SMS channels is really like, very strong channel, very largely adopted, but still, being under trouble. And if we look at, how the market is trending, and if we look at, how the things are playing out, and we have the graph here from Mobile Square, which is forecasting to see like the size of the market to start decreasing, this year, and slowly decreasing. So that's one of the things that we see. The other aspect, which is like a very good news also, which is to see that the rich messaging transition is happening at the same time, which create an opportunity for the industry and for us to be able to tap into this market and to take some market share. So if we keep looking at the different channels that we have, and slowly I'm going to introduce like the RCS also. Obviously, we have the SMS channel very well established with those 9 billion mobile users. The size of the market, nearly 60 billion, right? Very established, but also with some downside, as I was mentioning. So we see also now the emergence of new channels that's have been also growing more recently. I call it the OTT in this slide. That's the WhatsApp and the other opportunities. They have like less users, but still significant user. You see that 4.1 billion users, which is like a massive footprint, and we see like some of the market shifting from the traditional SMS to the RCS, and which at the same time start to resolve some of the downside of the SMS around the security, around the rich messaging, which create like some excitement from the brands and new possibility for the brands. If we look at the RCS 1.2 billion active user this year, so it start being like significant. In terms of market, is still a bit behind compared to the other markets, but we can see like a significant growth. It kind of give also like the rich experience and secure experience that the user are expecting. So if we look at where we are, like 52 countries, 128 MNOs, still a bit behind compared like some of the channel, but it is like growing. And obviously we have this announcement that we know about RCS that has been made by Apple recently on their iOS 18, which gonna support the compatibility with RCS. It's gonna be launched in September, and it gives also the possibility then to suddenly exchange RCS message across multiple platform and across Android and also Apple. So that's significant announcement, and obviously we believe that's going to create excitement, and it's gonna help to support the channel. If we look at the RCS versus the SMS, and we start to compare, we all know very well as SMS with their limitation. Anybody can send an SMS, and it's not branded verify. I mean, there are There are some mechanism like to authenticate and register, but it's not very strong on that side. Obviously, it's only characters, and RCS obviously is gonna resolve that. It's branded, it's verified. You can exchange the picture, the videos, and you will have like all the, the reception of the acknowledgement of the reception. So that's significant improvement, and it's kind of tick all the boxes of what the brands and the people expect from a modern messaging application. If we look at the way RCS is gonna play out and the way it's been designed, there are like three type of messages. You have the basic message that has been designed to replace and compensate for what the SMS was not delivering. Typically from the brands, it's branded, it's verified, it's secured end to end. But also you have like the capabilities to verify the brands that is sending, so it's end to end and it's encrypted. So that's very powerful. And you have like the second, which is the single message, where you can put like the multimedia on top of it, where you get the full flavors of the RCS. And then the last one, which is the conversational, where you can go, in two directions between the brand and the user. So obviously, those three type of message are gonna have like three type of commercial model and pricing. So that's important to keep that in mind. And the value of the message is gonna follow also those different type of messages. If we look at the way it plays out in terms of connections, you will have like the enterprises on the left of the screen that's going to send message. And if you compare SMS to an RCS, you're going to see that so all the SMS will be flowing to an aggregators, and the aggregator will distribute to the MNOs. The difference, obviously, with RCS is Google is going to play the role of the concentration, where Google is going to receive like all the message themselves, and then it will be in charge to deliver those messages over the top. The MNO are keeping the commercial agreement on this model. Google is not managing like the commercial agreement, so the aggregators still need to set up like commercial agreements, but the technical delivery of the message is centralized by Google, and that's something quite important also on the way the RCS is being rolled out. So just to recap and look at the value proposition on the RCS, and then I think we can have like the conversation. So in terms of value, obviously RCS is the protocol designed by the GSMA, by the operator, for the operators. This is native, in the Android, and very soon in the iOS and the Apple also. So in terms of reach, it's going to be like there. The communication is going to be like multimedia, so it's going to be secure. So it's kind of ticks, all the boxes of the modern messaging application. Also, that's a new opportunity for the MNOs to be able to like compensate somehow what is happening on the SMS, and with the downside of the SMS that I was mentioning at the beginning, there is an opportunity to position themselves. To sell something that is secure, and to be able to kind of compensate the reduction of the revenue that we see on the SMS market. I guess that's about it on my side.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see if there are some questions from the audience. Yes, we have one question. So thank you very much, Jean. Microphone is coming towards you.
Yes, thank you again for the presentation. I just had one of your charts that stood out for me is you have down 9.3 billion, mobile, which sounds logical. Could even be more, maybe. You had 4-point-something billion OTT users. Yes. 1.2 billion RCS users. Do they know they're RCS users?
That's a good question, right? And when I say RCS, I mention RCS business messaging, right? So this is like the number of users who has like an Android that is capable of receiving like an RCS message. They don't even like realize it's an RCS, right? But obviously they are enabled on the RCS, and then on the other side, then the brands can start like enabling this communication to those users. I think that's also the beauty of RCS, right? You don't even need to realize you have it. As long as you carry an Android, then you're going to be compatible to RCS and then compatible to RCS business messaging. And the second aspect is the expansion of the Apple device to it is going to even like increase like the reach, right?
Okay, thank you for your question. Mark, microphone is coming your way.
Hi, thank you for that. On your first slide, I think in the graph, it shows basically a huge jump in RCS messaging, I think from 2023, 24. Is that because of Apple, or what is the cause of that expected jump?
So if you look at the chart, it was not a specific RCS chart, right? It was rich messaging. So it was included like all the rich messaging platform, which has started to jump, right? So RCS is a fraction of it. WhatsApp is included into it, and obviously, so it's kind of a combination of all those rich, platforms.
Is that because it's kind of all hitting all at the same time?
Yeah, there is this. There is this combination of WhatsApp being very active also on this WhatsApp for Business, and the combination of the RCS. But the main driver at the back, the fact that WhatsApp for Business are starting to ramp up is kind of driving this market upwards and create also like the opportunity for the other rich platforms, right? Rich communication platforms.
Just an interesting point of view. The English FA and their supporters fan groups are pushing all messaging to WhatsApp for the upcoming tournament too. So that's sort of moving away from Facebook and text.
Yeah, the competition is there, right? And we need to be. There are various options, there are various platforms. Now it's on some markets, depending on the penetration of the different channels, then the competition is going to play out. I think at some point, obviously we're here we are pushing RCS and we're looking at RCS, but in the end, the brands, what they want is the most efficient channel to reach their users, and they will definitively use the one that is the most efficient, the most price competitive also. There are all those parameters. So competition is going to play out, and it will vary different depending on the markets. It's country by country, it can be different.
We'll see how that goes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question, Mark. Nasia.
I'm just curious because WhatsApp for Business is already ubiquitous, right? It wasn't specific to a device. And with the news that Apple will embrace RCS business risk messaging, for that matter, that will make that ubiquitous to smartphones specifically, where the WhatsApp is any device. Really, I can have it on my laptop, I can have it on my iPad, I can have it on my phone. Why would brands change? Why would choose RCS versus WhatsApp? Just curious.
Okay, anybody? But maybe let's get into the round again. Nick?
Well, firstly, with WhatsApp, you've got to opt in. So each brand starts with 0 followers. So coming back, the FA, you've obviously got to make sure that everyone opts in, otherwise none of them will get any messages. So that's the first thing. Whereas if the FA chose, for example, if RCS had the similar reach as WhatsApp, should we say, or WhatsApp users, then they'd probably look to do that and they wouldn't need to opt in because they could basically use their mobile database that they have. So that's one reason. So I think that's probably one of the obvious advantages in terms of using RCS over WhatsApp. But again, in terms of why would you use one or the other, If you look at Brazil and India, you've got both, and both are growing, and they're basically propping up the rest of RCS and WhatsApp for around the world. So if you go outside of these markets, there's not really that much happening. It's quite small growth, but it's happening. So WhatsApp, we reckon, is probably 4 or 5 years commercially ahead of RCS. So that's our chart, the rich messaging. Probably 95% of the rich messaging, it's probably a bit less than that now, is WhatsApp of that spend. So we're just changing our RCS forecasts now. We're updating them. We've then looking in, we've put in the basic or branded message numbers that we've got. We've put in single message data that we've got, the P2A and the conversational element to that as well. So the market is still really small, but we think that RCS by about 2028 will be about 2.5 billion without Apple. So that's just Android. Apple, we think, will probably add about a quarter on top of that again. So it's not massive, but longer term, it will make a massive difference. So yes, as Nassi was saying, you will be marketing to smartphones in effect with RCS, but you are, to a certain extent with WhatsApp once they've opted in.
Okay, thank you for your question, Nas. So, still a lot of challenges, I guess, right? I mean, even pre-COVID, RCS was ready, right? I mean, if we bit go back, I mean, some people said that RCS will be ready. I get the feeling that it's now, you're late. He will pay the bills. So, okay, that's the beer. Yeah, that's, I was talking about those bills. Thank you. Anyway, so what kind of challenges are we still facing today? What can we say? Maybe Pascal, you can jump in here.
Yeah, and I think the question you ask are really triggering this argument. Who can decide? Who needs to answer your question? Well, the brands. What happened since COVID? Not much. Over COVID, we learned how to get a delivery, to give the door code to Amazon. We learned how to confirm an appointment with a doctor. What happened since then? Not much. In terms of new use case, we try to replicate what we can do already on the web, maybe on a smaller screen, which might be called RCS or WhatsApp or something else, and maybe not everyone can do it because WhatsApp is not everywhere. I mean, it's not in the US. It's not as popular as in Europe when we're just on half of the devices and so on. So what happened since then? Over the last years, not so much. So it's time to wake up the brands. They're doing some pilot projects. They're doing this campaign where they're targeting like a few 100,000 users with WhatsApp or with RCS or with something. Well, as professionals around the table, in a room, we read those articles and we're like, oh yeah, it's there, it's moving and so on.
It's happening now.
Well, what is really happening? When a worldwide brand wants to launch a new product, they want 100% reach, they want a cheap media, and they want to address everyone. So they go on A2P, they go on voice, they go on contact center still, but they're starting a few pilot initiatives, and we're just there. It's just the beginning. And I guess the brands will manage to see how they assemble their nice dressing and salad that will be a piece of RCS in some points, WhatsApp the other, the Apple version of RCS who will be, well, who knows what it will be. We don't know, but we'll see, and that will be a segment of the market. So it will be segmented, but the race is on. That's the important thing. And I think all the professionals, like we all are here, we should push the brands to get more initiatives. And Jean, as you said, who knows is using RCS? Well, I guess a few brands know they pay for it. So let's make sure that they're not wasting the money and they know where the money goes. And that's the profitability and competition that is just kicking off. And the example we have for, was that WhatsApp or RCS, where we're always talking about the same Brazil or this other country in Far East. Still the same example for me for several years. So let's wake up those brands and push them to arbitrate differently, because today if they want to, if a brand manager has the choice between doing a campaign for 100,000 targeted customers on WhatsApp for this amount, or for the same amount he can reach 1 million or 5 times as many more people with SMS, well, guess what? He's going to continue to SMS for some time, although they need to have this innovation and get into further enriched rich media services as well.
Andreas, do you see the same, let's say, pattern?
Well, I'd say it'll definitely be like most adoptions with other technologies. It's going to take time till it comes. Can we stop it? I doubt it. I mean, Nick's most likely going to know much better in which market that can pick up or not due to current saturation. But it's like, people don't like it, but it's like, look at Tesla or whatever. The guy came up and said, I'll drive an electric car, and they put up the first one at every site. The guy's nuts.
And he's
Look
still
at RCS.
and he's still making a loss.
And still is making a loss, but he's selling a whole lot of cars. And at some point in time, maybe he's making money. And if you look at RCS or rich business messaging with WhatsApp, it's like, it's there in India, then it's in Brazil. It'll come to other markets. People right now, like you said, is who's going to spend that amount of money? But people will find use cases where they run little test balloons that will prove successful. And as we had it in the earlier discussion just before, as long as it brings in the corresponding ROI. So if people will be able to use rich business messaging or RCS to actually shop and make the transaction and buy something, and the brands are going to see that that saved them a lot of money compared to a call center or whatever else, at some point in time, it's going to pick up. When that's going to be, I think, that's the hardest question to answer.
Okay, so if I say RCS is just some, some fancy messaging and another channel, Guillaume, if I might be disruptive, if I may throw a curveball here.
No, but to a certain extent, RCS is a channel, right? And you don't sell a channel to the brands, right? The brands, what they want to buy marketing, they want to buy like e-commerce. I mean, they want to do e-commerce, they want to communicate, they want to achieve something, right? So
Hold on. Sorry to interrupt you. Are you telling me that we from the telco gonna tell the marketeers how to do their job, or are we just providing another service to them?
I think we are opening a possibility, but I think the marketeers, they still need to understand this, these possibilities. And right now we're saying, okay, we have a channel, and I think we need to go back to the, the use case, show use case by use case, for the SMS. We define those use cases. This OTPs now is very successful. Then we move to the marketing, and it's super successful, very easy, and so on. I think on the RCS, we'll have to go to those steps, right? So define the use case, find the use case where, this RCS bring like new possibilities. You have like those carousel. You can open like e-commerce and all of that, but still need to, to prove, right? To prove in the markets that you have the reach, you have like the return also, and we need to go through that loop. There are markets where like they are advanced, like in Brazil, as in Mexico, like in India. I think the idea also is to capitalize on those experience from some markets to be able to replicate to other markets and go into that loop of demonstrating. That's super important. The other aspect is going to be like the commercials also. I think we didn't talk much about the commercials. But they will need also to have commercials that is adapted to what the marketers are expecting, right? Right now, I think the commercial is coming more, okay, my SMS business is going down. I want to ensure I can recover like on my RCS, but probably the commercials is going to be a little bit different, right? So I think we'll have to adapt also to the use case. Some use case will create a lot of value, and there will be like interesting commercials, and some, we'll have to figure out and see, how it plays out.
Okay, thank you. Talking about numbers, Nick, you analyze everything from A to B, from whatever. Talking about numbers, can you give us? Are there any numbers available? I mean, you're Mobile Squared, so you should know, right?
Yeah, www.mobilesquared.co.uk. Lots of numbers available. What do you want to know?
Okay, the numbers. I mean, Guillaume was just talking about, the commercial model. You know, we need to make money with it, right? So how do we do it, and what is the prognosis? What do you?
The issue that we've always had, and I've been saying this for years, is that no one knows what RCS is. That's the problem, because if it's a messaging service, then are we looking to migrate the $33 billion or so that are spent on SMS onto RCS? In which case, okay, that's what RCS will be. If it's a customer care platform, then something like in excess of $300 billion, or up to $1 billion, depending on who you believe, these aren't our numbers, is spent on voice on customer care and call centres. So are you going to target that? It makes sense. Why don't? That's what WhatsApp started out, and that's what Apple are trying to do. So you're trying to migrate $300 billion onto the platform. That makes sense. Then what are you trying to do? Then is it a digital marketing platform? Are you going after the $600 to $800 billion spent on digital marketing? Are you going, what are we trying to achieve here? Because that's the problem. You go and talk to an agency or a company and say, oh, this is what RCS can do. And so, oh, brilliant. Okay, well, who do we need to talk to? It could be him, her, her. That's the problem. No one really knows what it is. And it's rich messaging. If I was Google, if I was anyone in RCS, and I've said this many years ago, haven't said it for a while, so it feels quite fresh, is just rip everything up, go to an ad agency and say, this is what we want to do, create a name for me and a platform and what it does, and to completely start again. And that's the problem. So potentially, RCS could generate hundreds of billions of dollars, because if it can successfully tap into all these various areas, then it should be a really successful platform, because brands are going to follow where eyeballs are. That's just what's always happened throughout time. So right now, there are billions and billions of eyeballs on messaging, and rich messaging in particular. So at some point, it will happen. It's just what is going to be that trigger point that will make it happen.
Okay, but then as a whole, the messaging market as a whole, including RCS, you foresee the growth?
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
slow. So the rich messaging there, the majority of that, as I said, was WhatsApp, and RCS was a sliver.
Mm-hmm.
But, given all the data that we've received in the last 6 months or so, we've changed it. So RCS would actually appear more than just a sliver on that chart. But it's slow. It's significantly slower than WhatsApp. But let's not, let's put it into concept that WhatsApp Business launched in 2018. And yet it only really started to reach decent scale last year. So that's 5 years. I know we've been talking about RCS, but we've just been going round and round and round in circles. So if we think of where was the starting point of RCS, in actual fact, it probably was a couple of years ago, in truth. So we've still got a long way to go. It's just, I know we've been talking about it for a long time, but everyone's just coming at it from so many different views. I think now, given what happened with Google, it probably helped focus the mind of this is what it's going to be, and then people can generate their strategies around that.
Okay. All right. So market is still growing. RCS will pick, from every little bit something, right? It will grow, and then what, guys? And then what? I mean, are all the investments which are done now by the operators, will it be worth it? I mean, from a financial point of view, I would look at it like, hey, I need to do an investment, and you know what? And maybe in 10 years it will make some money. Is that good enough? I'm looking at the CEO of a company.
I think it's inevitable that you need to follow the trend in the market.
That's
let's
one,
say
for sure.
our DNA was, let's say, benefiting from huge margins on the voice for many, many years on an infrastructure which was already there, completely capex, and we're making tons of margins on that. Market has changed, it's by far more competitive. I think if we do not, let's say, investigate and follow the trend what kind of channels and opportunities are there. Yes, we need to invest now, and perhaps it might result in a return, positive return on investment. We're not sure about that. It's not longer for me a given that there will always be a return on investment, and that's the difficulty. We have seen that with CPaaS, we have seen that with IoT, and most likely we can see it with RCS messaging as well. But if you don't do it, anyhow, you will miss an opportunity of a channel. RCS will be there, is already there, as Nick stated, for many years. VoLTE was already there for many years, and then the migration started this year. So whether you want to stay in the business or out, yeah, that's your own choice. I basically decided to follow the trend, let's say, and that's the reason why we invested in RCS coverage first with the MNOs and with the model as described by Guillaume. And then we will expand, let's say, with the campaign manager to the front end and see if we can proactively reach the market as well. Let's say other parties are already doing it. So why should we still carry on the existing voice margin, which is declining, mobile margin? Yeah. So you can give the own answers.
Okay, clear?
Yeah, to add on Edwin's comment, today CX, customer experience, contact centers, is a set of very inefficient channels. Convergence is bringing some economy into this set of inefficient channels. So SMS is X% efficient, hit ratio is a few percentage, voice is a few percent, and so on. Email was a few percent, and SMS has tried to replace it, and so on. So by using convergent conversational solutions, you're going to bring not an additional value, but you're going to optimize the value from a macro perspective of the whole CX market. And there's a lot to a lot to do for not only the brands who are used to managing those channels individually, or they have specialists of SMS campaigns, specialists of voice campaigns, and now new guys, the young ones, the millennials ones, they're the one in charge of the WhatsApp or RCS campaigns. But the old guys like us, the one
Don't
who
look
knows,
at me. Don't look at me.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, don't do it. Don't
They're
do
like,
it.
okay,
Don't do it.
why don't you do SMS? Because there's still a bit to do with it. But then, when you send an SMS to someone, why don't you do something so that you can call back the number who sent you the SMS? Wow, what an innovation. What a revolution. You send your SMS saying, okay, X% of discount on the bathroom or the beds or mattress in this general store. Well, you can call back and say, oh, I'd like to know whether you have this brand or whatever. I mean, where is it possible today? Nowhere apart from a few pilot WhatsApp projects.
Okay.
But it's available.
Okay, cool.
In most markets.
I want a quick survey. Who believes in RCS? Please, raise your hand. You know what is so funny? 2 years ago, it was not even half. This is education within the industry. But what we saw, one of the key challenges is actually to educate the market, our end customers, right? But also to be educated, which we discussed earlier, because we need to understand what is important for the marketeer, okay? So for the enterprises, what's important for them. Now, Andreas, you talk to a lot of those enterprises, not only wholesale, you do both. So what is your experience in discussing RCS with the enterprises, with end customers?
It's a bit on what Guillaume said earlier. I think it's an educational game, if you want to call it that way. Because we had that in the panel earlier. It's like a couple of our customers, they came in when WhatsApp Business API came out. They said, oh, I want that. And we said, okay, that's this and that. And then the guy went back, and a day later he said, no, we don't want it. I said, why do you don't want it? It's like, yeah, our legal department says there's compliance issues with USA data. So that's why it was gone. And that was gone for years. And now then WhatsApp came up, RCS got encrypted. The people are there, they hear it. The brand guys or marketing guys have heard it, like what we had, is it a buzzword or whatever. And then they're coming in, and I think our job is really to try to educate them. And when they understand it, there is an interest. So that's why I didn't raise my hand necessarily whether I believe in it. I believe in rich business communication as a service. RCS is going to take a long time until it's got a larger saturation, I think. But the challenge for the enterprise then comes up with, they say, I don't care how you bring that message there, because we don't want to integrate 10 different APIs to 10 different people that want to be talked to on Telegram, Meta, or whatever. So, and that's where I think it's the learning. It's, as you said, we'll have to educate ourselves in the industry, but when it comes to the enterprises, our job is to educate the enterprise, what's possible and what not. And ultimately right now, our feedback is, there's 40% of the market I can reach. Can you somehow combine that with WhatsApp? And then we come to the point where they say, yeah,
40%,
maybe.
Sorry, 40% of the market or 40% of your customers?
No, of the market,
okay.
Max. And depending where you look at it. I mean, if you look at RCS in Germany, let's see how it goes out when iOS update comes out. Right now, I think in Germany, you're at 25, 26, something. And that's what people come and you say, well, yeah, we could do that. Okay, how much is it going to cost? Okay, and I can reach 25% of my target audience with that. Not okay. So, and that's where right now the challenge is, and that's why I think as well, it's education, and unfortunately, it needs time. It will need time. The saturation's going to get bigger. The interoperability has to be bigger.
There's the word.
And and I really don't know it. I was asking a couple of people before, maybe somebody knows here. The first thing I heard was that, yeah, they support it. iOS, it's going to come. It's going to be in there. Yeah, it's going to be the rudimentary profile by the GSMA. People have told me, and then you need to activate it proactively on your phone. I said, well, we all know why Apple's doing that. I still don't know whether that's the truth. But if that is the truth, it's still going to need a couple of years, and it'll end up with the same thing as Google had to learn. Is like, if you bring out a phone where RCS is on it, but I still need to push the button first, why did they take 8 years or 9 until they came up with a larger situation? It's like, I think, a year and a half. They put an update on the complete Android, and by default, RCS was on, and this is out of a sudden they got a large saturation. If you don't have that on the iPhone, and I don't know it, it's going to be a hard thing.
Nick?
I think it will just happen on the iPhone. You won't have to activate it.
Yeah? It'll work? Okay.
Yeah, because there's also there's a view that is it just going to be applied to iOS 18 or retrospectively applied to
Correct.
older software iterations, in which case that would have quite a big impact. Because also, Apple will only roll it out in certain markets. They're not going to roll it out into every market. They'll do it on a piecemeal basis as well. But on top of that, everyone seems to think that the minute Apple do a software update, everyone has it. They don't. Yeah. You have about 30% of people, and this is Apple numbers because they publish it. 30% will probably update within 3 months. Within 8 months, it's about 60%, 70%. Yeah. So it's not going to happen overnight. The whole Apple impact. It will, but what it could do is get brands to actually commit more, because I think that's part of the problem. For the last 4 or 5 years, brands have always been interested in it, and the industry have been talking about RCS because it's an attractive proposition. But then brands will say, we'll just see what happens next year. And then that's kept on happening. But now I think with Apple coming in, they're actually going to say, okay, we might do something this year. So I think it's the change in the mindset in the brands that could ultimately have an impact.
Okay, Pascal, you wanted to?
Yeah, now I'm backing up on my reply. Will RCS be successful? Because I thought it was started, but now you're saying there's another set of prerequisites, like changing 8 billion devices before it can really start.
Not what I said.
All right. Cool. Gentlemen, closing statement. What's there to look out for within the RCS scope, of course, and maybe Guillaume, you can kick that off. What is your glass ball prediction? What is it, if you have one? What do you think? What will come? What's hitting us, and or maybe how? Well, what are your thoughts?
No, I think what is happening with Apple in September is going to be like a game changer also, because immediately I think the critical mass was missing, and I think suddenly we'll reach it. So I think it will it will immediately open like the potential. So that's one thing. Then the second thing is, I think we'll have to go by steps, right? And when you see like those three basic, single and conversational, I think this is also a way to give like some steps where, you know, we're gonna go like first of all by kind of moving what is happening on SMS to RCS, like that's the basic, right? So start having like the brands using like you know, this basic, and we already have brands coming to us and saying, you know, we want to try, we want to do more than just sending like you know, few characters to our customers, right? So we see the demand, right? So first step, like you can move some of the traffic into this basic, and then you will be able to demonstrate the value of the channel and move up, right? Move up with like those you know, videos, carousel, and I think then immediately the value will be demonstrated, and then we can go to conversational, and so I think it will pick up significantly. I see like we are like the ways are kind of converging right now, and you see like you know, the excitement around this channel, the demand. So I really believe that something is happening this year on this channel, and I guess that's the, you know, that's the time to kind of embrace it. I think that's RCS as being like, you know, being prepared to emerge for years, and I think now, you know, we have like this starting point right in front of us. So it's super exciting.
Okay. Pascal?
Well, as I said, we need more experiences. We need more pilots. We need more brands to start things and challenge the experience that we all know from Brazil, from what we learned from
India,
from COVID, and so on. And then from this experience, we will get used to see new use cases appearing, and then get back to more of the technical analysis. And because I mean, we're talking about RCS, but RCS is a technology. The real thing is how do we bring more interactivity between a brand and a customer base? And this, I mean, I'm a telecom expert. I'm not a marketing expert. So we should have the marketing expert also guiding us and telling us this we like, this nah, it's too complicated, and so on. So we need to be very pragmatic and modest. But it will invade. But is it like 3 years? I don't believe so. 5 years? Well, Apple X version. I mean, how long? What's the replacement pace for iOS devices, Android? I mean, it takes forever.
So it will not have, let's say, the TikTok effect. You know, like overnight we have a zillion users, and they all go for it.
Yeah, the TikTok effect has an effect on TikTok users. That's it. And it's a closed garden.
Yeah. No.
So unless all the regulatory bodies worldwide forces everyone to interconnect, as they did with all telecom operators a century ago, well, then it will need to go to
I was there, by the way.
TikTok, huh? Well, we all were.
That was unnecessary. That was really not necessary, that remark, Andreas. So, but thank you anyway. Andreas. No. It was really cool. Andreas, what do you think? What's happening?
Well, I think we need test cases. You need to educate the customers. It's definitely going to take time until it's going to roll out. And when it shows in specific use cases that there's the ROI on the enterprise side, when they've understood it, the reach is there, then at some point in time there's going to come the classic hockey stick curve. And then it's really going to run off. But interesting to see that what my neighbor just said is like, because before you answered it, it was like in my head, sorry, so how long is that going to go? I said 3 to 5 years, if we're lucky.
But hold on.
That is my gut feeling. It's just the personal opinion, right?
Fair enough. But from my understanding, I hear people saying, yeah, we need use case, whatever. Do we need still even more proof of concept, or are we, let's say, are we there already, or and we can move on, or because we have the critical base, as you mentioned, Guillaume? Nick, what is your?
Right, 2 things.
Yes.
So, firstly, to address that, the kind of the campaign, kind of the golden child originally, or a couple of years back, was Japan for RCS. Never mentioned now.
No.
All operators doing it, all on one platform, and now it doesn't even get a mention. It barely, I think it just carries some government traffic, although I think that's kind of stopped now, and it's now moving over to Jibe as well. But I think the bigger picture here is that there's a disconnect. I think there's a disconnect between brands and consumers. Consumers don't wake up and go, oh, morning, lovely day. Today I'm going to communicate with the brand. That doesn't happen. That's kind of almost as if that's what we think is going to happen with RCS. It's not. And brands target at consumers. It's at, I'm targeting you. That's kind of, it's not, I'm going to speak with you. So I think there's a disconnect there. So I think it's only when we kind of overcome that we actually will understand what RCS and WhatsApp, RCS obviously for the discussion, can actually do for a brand. Because then all of a sudden, if you start understanding what it is and what consumers want, then we can start positioning RCS in a way that we can really sell a brand. So for example, like you got brands spend a lot of money on an app. A lot of that content on the app can be and will be within RCS. So then all of a sudden, like if you're flying on BA or whoever, KLM.
I never fly BA.
Well, not many of them have first class for you, so it's only business. That's probably why. But all of a sudden, I'm mucking around with email. I'm mucking around with the app. But if all of that was in RCS, and I could communicate, and it's just telling me, yeah, the plane's on time, blah blah blah. All of that would be very useful. And then all of a sudden, traveling every day, your daily life can be organised and becomes more efficient through something like RCS. But that's when brands get it. I think when all of the other channels that are very disparate become onto one, and that's probably the real value that something like RCS can actually offer.
And then the hockey stick effect will appear.
Yep.
Okie dokie. And with those famous words, I would like to close the session. I would like to thank you so much for being, part of this session or the other 3 sessions we had. And I would like to thank especially Fabrizio for moderating one session. And Ira, good luck for you tomorrow to have, let's say, He's doing this already for 10 years. But Ira, good luck tomorrow with your sessions, and we from the GCCM, we have more sessions to come over the coming 2 days. Thank you so much for being here. I would like to thank dearly Nick, Andreas, Pascal, and Guillaume, especially as well for your presentation and for sponsoring the session. So thank you so much, Guillaume. And I'll wish you a fantastic thingy. And I think there are some drinks tonight, so I think we should be in good hands, right? And if you're not, come along anyway. Have fun. What time? Well, I think that at 6 the Irish pub is doing something that's Legos sponsoring this, and at 7:30 we have in the House of Gin. We have in the House of Gin, of course, the opening and the welcome cocktail thingy. Trust me, you will talk about it even longer. But I just want to go away from we still need the proof of concepts. I want to, let's get it moving, because I think it can enrich us all. Or maybe not, but that's for the next session. Keep focused.